Hi everyone, Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and with 2025 almost here, I want to go over some of my favorite iOS features in 2024. And this is not just with iOS 18, it's with iOS 17.3 all the way back in January. So let's get right to it. And the first feature, while I typically don't quite use it 100%, as I'm not entirely sure how to work it, it's under Face ID and Password, and it is stolen device protection. So if I go into it here, what I do know about this feature is if you enable it, however, I won't be doing that, but if you enable it and then you try to make any significant changes to your Apple ID, it will make you wait an hour before you can change anything with stolen device protection enabled. This is for if someone tries to steal your iPhone, they won't be able to change anything for about an hour. If they're not in a familiar location, they will have to wait an hour before making any changes. That is what stolen device protection is. Now within wallpapers here, in iOS 17.3, we got some new Unity wallpapers. These are Unity Bloom, and these honestly look really beautiful. They're really nice wallpapers, kind of like the ones we have or we've gotten with iOS 16.3. With iOS 17.4, not really a large update, but we got side loading within the App Store in the EU. Side loading was available, and a new hello screen where you update and it shows your profile picture with the word hello underneath it. In iOS 17.5, if I were to go ahead and play
What's it like to get the new iPhone 16 Pro?
a podcast here, you can see it turns the entire widget the color of the podcast. That change was implemented in iOS 17.5. And if I go to the lock screen, press and hold on the lock screen, if you press the blue plus button again and we go back into wallpapers, we got new Pride wallpapers in iOS 17.5. Really nice new wallpapers, kind of like the ones we've gotten or the one we have in iOS 16.5, which had a light and a dark mode variant. And also kind of similar to this one as well. Now, that leads us into iOS 18. In iOS 18, there is a lot of customization that is with this new version of iOS. And we're going to start in photos. Now, a lot of people do not like the change. Some people wish that they could have iOS 17's Photos app, while me personally, I love this change. But if you want to know how to make everything simple, you pretty much go to Customize and Reorder and you just deselect every option until the only option you see is the photo library. But I personally like all of these changes, so I will keep these enabled for now. But in the top right corner, you have your account where you can manage your iCloud syncing. You have a select button to delete photos, and you have a search button. And if you scroll all the way down, you have a menu bar where you have your different options, or you can zoom out. You have your years, months, and all photos, and an X button, which pretty much is just a shortcut to go to swipe up. So I know the Photos app can be confusing, and it can also be frustrating for some people. Me personally, I love this change. Honestly, I think it looks really nice. But if you want it more simplified, you just go to Customize and Reorder and deselect everything. In iOS 18, it brought a new control center where if you want to add new controls, you simply press the Add New button and you can make controls larger or smaller. Now with iOS 18.1, it made a slight update to the connectivity control. Wi-Fi, AirDrop, cellular, and Bluetooth used to be rectangles like airplane mode, personal hotspot, and VPN until iOS 18.1, where they made these now into squares. So honestly, that is a nice change. And if we go into settings, scroll down till we get to control center, they made significant changes to settings. If we go down to control center, we do have the option to reset control center. However, I won't be doing that, but you can reset the control center in iOS 18.1 and newer. Now then, with iOS 18 in general, when it comes to the home screen, this is one of the biggest updates that we have ever seen. If we press and hold the edit button, not only do we have the option to add widgets, we can pretty much customize this home screen. We can have light mode, dark, automatic, which is where you go into light mode. It makes things light or dark. And we also have tinted. And when you go into settings with iOS 18.2, it tints those icons. And when you have dark or light mode enabled, it does the exact same thing. You also can move apps around anywhere in iOS 18. You see how I sort of have this space in the middle of my home screen? You pretty much can move the apps around anywhere you want in iOS 18. In the Mail app, we have a slight update where you have updates, you have primary transaction, updates and promotion in all mail. Now you can't switch back to list view, and you also can change sort of the profile pictures by going to settings, going to your apps. And then going to where it says under mail, there will be an option that says show contact photo. You want to disable that and switch to list view. Now it brings you back to sort of the old view. But I like this change that Apple implemented, so I will keep everything enabled. Also with iOS 18.2 and 18.1, it brings Apple Intelligence. Now, unfortunately, I wish I could show you this, but I don't have an iPhone that supports Apple Intelligence, so I'm not able to show this to you. But there is a lot of changes with writing notes, proofread, and the new Siri animation, where it borders across the entire edge of the display. And you also have ChatGPT integration with Siri. You also have a new Image Playground app in iOS 18.2. That too is also a part of Apple Intelligence, so I cannot show you that either. But there is a lot of nice new features in iOS 18. And while it's not exactly out to the public, which is currently in beta, and I'm not running that beta, I will briefly mention iOS 18.3. It's currently sitting in beta 1. It does not have a lot of options, but it does now support natural language. Apple brought this in iOS 18.2 to Apple Music and Apple TV. And in iOS 18.3, it's now within the App Store. However, I did see an option for this on iOS 18.2, the software I'm currently running. And we also have a new Passwords app. I almost forgot about that as well. We have a brand new Passwords app where you can store your different passwords. It is sort of like a password manager. So those are some of my favorite features in 2024. I look forward to 2025 and seeing what it has to offer with iOS 18.4 in iOS 19. If you guys like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I will see you guys later.